I am Wilhelm Helsingius, and I have psychology and cognitive psychotherapy degrees. Welcome to episode 14 of the Love Unconditionally Handbook. Overcoming excuses, embracing your true potential. If you recall, I mentioned that the biggest threat to your wonderful relationship, your fascinating life, and your fulfilling human connections is, in fact, being yourself, or more precisely, the ways of thinking and functioning that you maybe learned in your childhood home. These are likely the patterns you adopted to cope with your family environment or to survive and adapt when you didn't receive what you truly needed on an emotional level. While these strategies may have helped you navigate your past, it doesn't necessarily mean they still serve you or provide what you need and want to be on a deeper level today. How does this resonate with you? Are you ready to gently explore the possibility of letting go of what you've believed yourself to be until now, to truly reflect on how you genuinely want to live and who you want to become? Have you allowed yourself and your life to become what they are by default, or have you actively chosen this path? Do you want your life, your sense of who you truly are, and what genuinely matters to you to just drift along, shaped by forces beyond your control? Or do you want to take an active role in defining who you are, who you become, and how your life unfolds? Are you living the life you want to live? Is your relationship the way you want it to be? Are you the parent you aspire to be? Are you doing what you genuinely want to do, or do you often find yourself wishing you could live differently, yet believing you are just the way you are, defined by your genes, your personality, and your circumstances? Imagine for a moment, how would you live, and what would your life look like if you could freely choose who you are, how you live, and how your life unfolds? What would it mean to truly realize the potential that lies within you? Discover and nurture the unique strengths, passions, and qualities that make you who you are. You are so much more than just the version shaped by your history. Your authentic self emerges when you allow yourself the freedom to grow and evolve. Imagine tapping into that potential, allowing it to guide you toward a life that feels more aligned, fulfilling, and genuinely your own. What possibilities might open up for you, in your relationships, your work, and your everyday experiences, if you gave yourself permission to fully embrace who you could become? Perhaps all it takes is a moment of courage, a willingness to look beyond old patterns, and a genuine curiosity to explore what might be possible. How does that thought make you feel? What do you think about the idea that you can choose who and how you are by choosing what you think about yourself and what you believe about who you want to be and could become? This perspective would mean that you are no longer dependent on or limited by the image that your environment and your thoughts have created of you, and that you have believed yourself to be. Instead, you could actively choose that image yourself, as a guide and a direction for who you want to be and what you want to achieve, something that inspires you and helps you forget who you have been and what you believe limits or hinders you. A metaphor, the crawling child. Do you think a crawling child is aware that they will be able to walk in the future? Of course not. But because they see others walking, and because walking makes it easier to do what they want to do, they try, and they don't give up until they succeed. Imagine if the child believed their own thoughts that they could only crawl, simply because they are crawling right now. Or if they defined themselves as Sir Crawler, and thought they couldn't walk because they were Sir Crawler. How do you think it would affect them if everyone around them only crawled, and every time they tried to walk, people asked why they were doing it, since we are crawlers? How much are you limited by who you believe you are and by the environment you live in? Regardless of what you previously believed or what those around you might claim or want you to believe, you have the ability to shape yourself and your destiny more than you might dare to imagine. Or does this opportunity, this responsibility, and this freedom feel frightening? Did you know that children with abusive parents often prefer to stay in that environment rather than allow themselves something better? Why do they act this way? It's because the familiar feels safer than the new and uncertain. Are you aware that your brain and your thoughts are constantly coming up with reasons to avoid change, simply because staying the same feels safer? It's completely natural to seek comfort in what we know, even if it isn't what's best for us. Change can feel like stepping into the unknown, and our minds often try to protect us by keeping us in familiar patterns. Change happens here and now. If you think that change is something that will come in the future, it is merely a fantasy. True transformation is not about waiting for the right moment, but about embracing the present with awareness and intention. The philosopher, spiritual teacher, and author Jiddu Krishnamurti often used analogies and metaphors to explain his thoughts on change. Here are some of his most powerful metaphors. The river is constantly moving, ever changing, and yet it is always the river. A tree does not resist the shedding of its leaves. It allows the old to fall away, and in doing so, it makes space for the new. The bird that is born in a cage believes flying is an illness. Transformation is not merely a change of form but a complete mutation, as a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't merely learn to fly, it must cease being a caterpillar altogether. The seed must die for the plant to emerge. Likewise, for real change to occur, the old self must die, and only then can the new come into being. Personally, I am most moved by the metaphor of the caterpillar that undergoes a metamorphosis and through the cocoon becomes a butterfly. If we cling to the image of ourselves that we believe we are, and if change feels threatening to us, we are like a caterpillar that stays inside the cocoon, stubbornly insisting on its right to remain there. Yet, this only means it will never experience what it could be like to fly and feel its wings carry it. How is it? Are you like a caterpillar, stubbornly holding on inside the cocoon? Do you see, if you keep clinging to the image of yourself, the one you believe you are, then you're like the caterpillar refusing to come out of its cocoon. And that means you might never get to experience what you really could become and what it truly means to be free and really live. Just like the caterpillar would never know what it feels like to be free and to fly if it stayed hidden inside. Jiddu Krishnamurti also often spoke about fear and our relationship with the unknown. One of his most famous quotes on this topic is, "One is never afraid of the unknown, one is afraid of the known coming to an end." He means that our fear is not truly about the unknown itself, but about the loss of what we already know. We cling to our identities, our routines, our thoughts, and our beliefs because they provide us with a sense of safety and stability. In a nutshell, we are not truly afraid of not being enough, rather, we are afraid of letting go of who we believe we are, which gives us a false sense of security. Additionally, we fear the unknown and what we could truly become. How does this resonate with you? Does it bring up any thoughts or feelings about the changes you might be considering or want to do? If you're wondering why I brought up the example of children who do everything to hold on to something that harms them deeply, it's because we all share this tendency. We often cling to what is familiar simply because it feels safe, even if, in reality, it may not be good for us or may prevent us from becoming who we truly want to be. How about you? Are you like the child in this example? What are you holding on to just because it is familiar and because you are used to it? A person who resists change is like a stick standing upright in a flowing stream. It might manage to remain there, but it requires strength and constant effort to resist the natural flow of the water. The spot where the water hits the stick creates continual friction and confrontation with the surroundings. If you are holding on to old ways of thinking, fixed perspectives on the world, or ingrained behavioral patterns, do you understand what it costs you? Can you see what you are sacrificing to maintain your image of yourself, an image you believe you cannot live without? Does it seem as if your whole world would collapse if you released your tight grip on it? What if, by letting go of the image you have of yourself, the one you hold onto so tightly, you could finally have the relationship you've always dreamed of? Can you see that one of the most beautiful things that could happen in your life is reaching the point where you simply can't hold on to this mentally constructed image of yourself any longer? The image built upon everything you've accumulated and created to maintain this artificial version of who you are. When you finally dare to let go, you might discover that your true, authentic self has nothing to do with what you thought you needed, what you had gathered around you, or what you believed you were dependent on. We also live in a time when many people seem to struggle to maintain healthy relationships. Our ego and our thoughts create obstacles, and we are often led to believe that things will improve if we change partners or that we simply haven't found the one. This is often the ego's way of preventing us from getting what we truly need. What I am talking about is not about switching partners or letting go just for the sake of it, or to serve an ego that does not care whether you get what you truly need deep down. Instead, I am primarily talking about letting go of, or at the very least questioning, the mental images and beliefs you hold about yourself. The ideas about what you think you can or cannot do, and what you have built your identity or self-confidence upon. Because what you are holding on to may not be real at all. The valuable and real part of you lies in your self-awareness and the authenticity within you, something that has nothing to do with all that you hold on to or accumulate to maintain and build your social profile, or with what your thoughts tell you that you are. All of this is like clothing you put on to survive and adapt to not getting what you truly needed during your upbringing, and you have continued to do so ever since. You need to be willing to question who you thought you were and to let go of the behaviors you are so accustomed to in order to create and maintain a beautiful, fulfilling, and genuine relationship. The important thing is to try to discern what is truly worth holding on to, what is valuable and worth fighting for, and what you are clinging to merely out of habit because it is familiar. What would it mean for you to release what no longer serves you and to embrace what is real and meaningful instead? I'm not sure if you're truly listening to what I'm trying to say to you. I don't doubt that you hear me, but genuinely listening and taking in the message is something entirely different. Are you allowing yourself to be moved, inspired, perhaps even a little excited and hungry to explore all the potential that lies within you? Or are you letting your thoughts and the person you believe yourself to be build barriers and limit what you could become? No one has ever created an extraordinary life just by staying as they are. It happens by consciously striving to break through their own boundaries, those of what they believe they can do and who they believe they are. As I've said before, it's not that we are afraid of not being enough, it's that we are afraid of what we could truly become. I promise you, if you don't allow yourself to be and become all that you can be, no one else will come and demand it of you, and there are many people who have become bitter when they realize what they didn't do. Do you understand that you won't get another chance if you later regret not having dared? We have only one life, and it's crucial that we acknowledge our mortality. That we can die at any moment, which is what helps us live wholeheartedly. Of course, there are those who have suppressed their awareness of mortality and the brevity of life, and perhaps it is exactly these individuals who later become overwhelmed with panic when they fall ill, suffer an accident, or realize that they have grown old and that the end is near. Everything depends on what you dare and are willing to do. There will come a day when you realize that you have grown old, or perhaps, on any ordinary day, something unexpected might happen to you or affect your physical health. In an instant, everything that once felt certain and natural could become impossible. It is in those moments that the truth of the life you allowed yourself to live becomes undeniably clear. What truly matters is not where you ended up, but the journey itself and how much you dared to put yourself out there. On the day you are confronted with the reality that this life, in this form, is nearing its end, no explanations will help. Now, let's address some of the most common excuses and reasons that hold us back from realizing the potential within us. Author and psychologist Wayne Dyer has identified these common excuses and explanations. They are mental constructs that act as obstacles, blocking you from realizing your true potential. It's difficult. This is an excuse designed to discourage you from even trying. Of course, what you want to achieve might be challenging, even difficult, but it is not more difficult than continuing to live the way you do now, maintaining habits, thoughts, and behaviors that do not support your well-being or align with who you could become. It's dangerous or risky. Your thoughts may try to convince you that what you need or want is dangerous or risky, even when it is not. We usually regret far more the things we did not do than those we did. Even if what we do does not bring exactly what we hoped for, it might bring something else valuable that makes the effort worthwhile. It takes too long. Is this, in your opinion, a valid excuse for not making a change you feel you need to make? We only ever truly have this moment, so time, or how long something takes, is not truly relevant. Whether you want it or not, time continues to pass, so it might be better to use your time for something that holds real value for you, instead of remaining stuck in the glue and frame you have built around yourself that makes you smaller than you truly are. My loved ones will be shocked. Are you afraid of criticism from your family or friends if you dare to live your own life? If you dare to live your own life, you will likely earn appreciation and respect for doing so, even if those around you are initially surprised. I encourage you not to let your fear stop you from living your unique life and experiencing who you truly could be. I don't deserve it or am not worthy of it. This suggests that you do not know yourself well enough and that you believe you are worthless. Remember, you have just as much right to everything life has to offer as anyone else does. I really mean it. If you struggle with unhealthy shame, this can be difficult to receive. I'm just not that kind of person. This excuse often includes beliefs like, I've always been this way. I can't change. I've never been able to think differently. This is who I am, and I just have to accept it. If you believe that your nature is fixed, I encourage you to consider whether this is truly the case. If you resist change, this resistance might itself be a source of discomfort or suffering. I can't afford it. Have you genuinely considered all the possible ways to achieve what you want, regardless of your financial situation? Could you try to focus on being grateful for what does not cost anything? Nobody will help me. I want to remind you that the world is full of people who want to help you, regardless of what your thoughts tell you or what you believe based on past experiences. It hasn't worked before, so it won't work now. Are you a slave to your past? You might be clinging to this way of thinking to avoid looking at things from a new perspective. If you believe this excuse, you live as if you are driving a car by only looking in the rearview mirror to decide where to go. Are you looking in the rearview mirror? What do you think? How would it feel to drive a car and try to reach your destination by only looking in the rearview mirror? You can say to yourself, I can receive what I need on a deeper level, regardless of my past, because my past does not dictate my present or my future. I am not strong enough. If you believe you are weak, you reinforce that belief and make yourself a victim. When you face a challenging situation, you will likely think you cannot handle it because you believe you are weak. I am not intelligent enough. Your intelligence is not measured by grades or how well you performed in school. Have you believed what those around you, including teachers or family members, have said about you? Remember, what someone says about you often says more about them than it does about who you truly are. If you choose to think consciously and introduce new thoughts, and if you are willing to think differently, you will change and develop your mind. You are not born intelligent, you become intelligent by using your brain, listening, and keeping an open and curious mind. Every situation and person you encounter offers an opportunity to learn, helping you develop your intelligence. If you had met me when I was young and compared who I was then with who I am now, you would understand that you, too, have incredible opportunities to develop yourself and your intelligence. Never let anyone define you negatively or limit what you can or cannot do. Trust the thoughts that spark your enthusiasm and inspiration, and allow yourself to follow them. I am too old, or I am too young. Have you ever been told that you can only do certain things when you get older, or that some things require you to be younger to learn or achieve them? Do you think you cannot fall in love, write a book, learn to yodel, get a specific job, study, or do something else because of your age? When you talk about your age, you are talking about your body. Remember, your mind and what you truly are not bound by your age or your physical body. It's not allowed. Do you listen to your own rhythm and intuition, or do you believe that everyone must follow the same patterns and rhythms? You do not have to rebel against societal norms, but do not let these norms prevent you from being who you want to be or doing what you want to do. I encourage you to listen to your own heart, walk your own path, and live your own unique and precious life. It's too big. Success requires focus on small things, taking one step, or focusing on one detail at a time. All great achievements start with something small. I like the example of a mountain climber who takes smaller steps as the mountain wall becomes steeper. When you focus on the small things and take responsibility for them, you create the framework and opportunities for greater achievements. If you want to lose 20 kilograms, start with the first kilo or by skipping one piece of candy. If you are depressed and struggling to do anything, start with one step toward the door or do just one small thing that you want to do, regardless of whether your thoughts believe you can handle it or not. If you wait for the right feeling to do something, you might wait a lifetime. Do what you can do here and now, regardless of what your thoughts claim. If you feel too tired, do just a little. The quantity is not important, but the act of doing is. I don't have the energy. Your thoughts might tell you that you are tired and that you cannot manage, but we can handle much more than we think when we avoid the thoughts that exaggerate how hard or heavy a situation truly is. Start by imagining yourself doing something that excites you and notice how your energy levels improve or how you feel a bit better if you allow yourself to feel enthusiastic and inspired. Energy is not just physical, it is also a mental attitude and a choice. Research shows that the work you do can either promote your health or drain you, depending on your attitude toward it. How challenging something feels often depends on how challenging you think it is. Even a simple task can feel difficult if you see yourself as a victim, feel that you are suffering, and believe that the work is difficult, boring, or worthless. Try to notice how you can influence your experience of what you do by actively choosing how you approach it. The next time you feel that something is boring, unnecessary, or tiring, and you think you should not have to do it, try radically changing your attitude. Approach it with an open and curious mind and observe how this change impacts your experience of what you are doing and how well you manage after you shift your mindset. You have a significant ability to influence how you experience your life, your workplace, your marriage, your everyday life, your old car, or anything else, by choosing how you relate to it and what meaning you give to what you do or experience. Embracing this power of choice can lead to a more fulfilling life, where you are no longer limited by excuses or self-imposed barriers. My family background is just the way it is. If you had something or someone that limited you as a child or young adult, remember, that was then, not now. How your childhood appears to you today has a lot to do with how you think about it. You have an excellent opportunity to take responsibility and free yourself from your childhood programming by choosing how you view your past. What matters most is what you want to do and be right now, regardless of what has happened before. You could say to yourself, I have everything I need within me to become who I want to be. I am capable of changing my habits, my thoughts, and how I see myself and my potential, regardless of how my parents were. Even if your childhood experiences were difficult, you made it through, and these experiences may have given you awareness and insights that can now serve you well. I have too much to do. You have chosen your situation, and your current circumstances are the result of your own choices. If you are always in a rush, this is your choice. When was the last time you reflected on what is truly important to you and what you really need to do? It's too frightening. There is nothing but fear or love. If you think thoughts that nurture your fear, you will feel afraid. What if your greatest threat is your own fear, which is nothing more than something your mind has created? There may be nothing real to fear when it comes to what you can or cannot achieve or who you can or cannot be. What kind of thoughts do you use to avoid change you know you need to make? Did you recognize yourself in any of the excuses or ways to avoid change we discussed earlier? If you did, try to create a counterargument or a new perspective that could be an alternative to the thoughts you have been using to avoid change. If your excuse is, "I am too old," then a counterargument might be, "I am free to achieve whatever I want to achieve and do, regardless of my age." When you identify your excuses, explanations, and mental barriers, you can create a counterargument that you could repeat to yourself every morning. This way, you can leave your excuses behind, and by using these counterarguments daily, things will eventually start to change. Understanding your true potential. You are capable of so much more than you think, and you can endure much tougher circumstances than you believe you can handle. The reason others have managed to overcome their challenges is not because they had something that you don't have, it is because they chose a different mindset. When you take responsibility for this, meaning you no longer blame your circumstances or situation, you will find yourself closer to where you want to be and experience more of what truly brings you joy and inspiration. Well-being is a choice, not a coincidence. When you embrace this choice, you step into your power and become the creator of your life, a life that is authentic, meaningful, and filled with the possibility of becoming who you truly are. It is important to understand that striving to develop yourself, exploring your true potential, and experimenting with new ways of thinking and being does not mean neglecting your everyday responsibilities or the needs of your loved ones. This is not an escape from mundane obligations, nor is it about disregarding others' needs. Adopting an alternative approach to how you relate to your life, yourself, and what life exposes you to, can bring positive change, helping you to grow mentally and realize that you are capable of much more than you ever imagined. This shift can lead to inner rewards that you truly deserve. Remember, you are the director and creator of your life, and that is why it is so important to discover who you want to be, what you want to do, and what you want to gain from your own unique life. When you make choices based on your own needs and values, you live authentically, instead of living to meet others' expectations. Are you living your own life, or someone else's? We often do things because our parents want it, or because we believe we should. Can you ask yourself, for whom are you doing what you do? Are you living the life you want to live? Or are you living a life that someone else wants for you? Are you simply drifting through life, like a boat on the ocean, letting the wind determine your direction? What if you don't feel well enough to pursue what you want? If you think that questions about your purpose, your mission in life, or finding what inspires you do not apply to you because you are not feeling well or lacking energy, ask yourself, what would you do or want if you felt better and had more energy? We often think we need to feel better first before we can do what we want, but what if it is the other way around? What if, by doing what you want, you start to feel better. What do you think about the idea that taking action might be the key to feeling better, instead of waiting for a certain feeling or state of mind before you can begin to do what you want or improve your well-being? If you are depressed, do not wait for the depression to pass before you. Meet your friends, talk to a stranger, go fishing, sing karaoke, ride a bike backwards. Do it despite feeling depressed, and especially because you feel depressed. Are you setting unreasonably high expectations for yourself? Are you sabotaging your own progress by placing high demands on yourself regarding what you should do? If so, try to practice doing things poorly, instead of striving for perfection, just to get started. Then, step by step, you can raise the bar and improve what you do, instead of not starting at all due to high expectations. Your thoughts might be demanding, telling you that you need to yodel, pole cycle, or water fly for at least an hour each day to benefit, which might make you not start at all. Did you recognize yourself from this? Do you set up obstacles for yourself? Ask yourself, how much can I yodel today? What if you started by trying to yodel for 5 minutes, and if that feels too much, try 15 seconds. If you do this, you might realize that you can indeed yodel for more than 15 seconds. Isn't that true? The idea is to lower the threshold for action and reduce obstacles. Start with a small amount and allow yourself to succeed in this small way. By doing this, you might notice that you can actually do a bit more than 15 seconds, and the situation feels entirely different than if you had not started at all. The key is to lower your expectations enough to get started. By doing just a little, you break the cycle of inaction, and this small success can motivate you to take the next step. Remember, you do not need to be perfect, you just need to begin. Whether it is salsa biking, talking to a stranger, or taking a small step toward becoming your country's best yodeler or any goal, the important thing is to take action, even if it is imperfect. Remember, the hardest part is getting started. If you feel like procrastinating, start as soon as possible, ideally, right now. There is no better time to start than right now. In other words, start now, or at least as soon as you finished this episode. Imagine how much you could accomplish if you spent time doing something truly valuable to you, instead of watching TV or scrolling on your phone or computer. What if you learned a new language, sang, ventriloquized, played an instrument, spent more time with loved ones, or improved your cooking skills, for as many minutes each day as you currently spend on your screen? In a month, or actually much sooner, perhaps even within a week, you could learn the basics of a new language, strengthen your connections with family and friends, dance salsa, or play something on the piano. You would find satisfaction in the self-discipline that allows you to discover something that brings you genuine joy and happiness. I am not against screen time, but if it prevents you from doing what you truly want and from experiencing something more meaningful, it might be wise to invest in yourself. Choosing to treat yourself with love and allowing yourself to pursue something that feels meaningful or gives joy can promote your well-being. An excessive screen time can contribute to depression, anxiety, restlessness, irritability, nausea, and reduce your ability to focus, be present, and engage in tasks that do not provide immediate gratification. What if, instead of spending time on a screen, you met with a friend, talked to a stranger, tried something you've never done before, learned a new skill, or visited a lonely elderly person? Have you ever thought that you would like to improve at something or learn something new? If your answer is yes, then you have a great opportunity to start and become skilled at it. All it takes is for you to commit your time to it, practice consistently, and continue practicing, even if it feels difficult. Anyone who is skilled at something has immersed themselves in it and practiced enough times. You have what it takes. Stop. Do you believe in me? Do you understand that you have everything it takes to become just as good at playing the saxophone, making a fortune by investing in stocks, speaking an exotic language, or building your own supercomputer as your neighbor? Your neighbor doesn't have anything you lack. He simply decided one day to start and then invested time and energy in practicing and exploring, trying and gradually getting a little better and a little better without giving up, even though he failed from time to time, which is a natural part of learning. Sure, physical limitations can set boundaries, but even then, you can probably achieve more than you believe. Try to remember. Take the time to explore something deeply. Practice regularly. See failures as opportunities to learn. Keep going, even if it feels uncomfortable. Creating accountability. Make it harder to trick yourself by telling someone when you plan to begin. You could even promise your neighbor that you will eat a salad with rotten rats and live larvae if you do not start when you said you would. Do you see how motivation emerges when you find the right incentive? The real obstacle is probably your own demands and attitude. Are you building barriers or creating opportunities? Are you making it harder for yourself to succeed and get started, or are you seeing possibilities and finding ways to make things happen? You have only one life, and you get to choose what it becomes, what you experience, what you achieve, and what you master. The goal isn't to become skilled at as many things as possible. Instead, life is a journey of growth, presence, learning, and connection. Along the way, you will sometimes fail. But what truly matters is having the determination to keep moving forward. These experiences, both the successes and the setbacks, are not just parts of the journey. They may, in fact, be the journey itself. As you strive for what truly matters to you, remember that every step, every connection, every challenge, and every lesson shapes the path you walk. Imagine how dull life would be if everything was handed to you without effort, if you were instantly good at everything without having to practice, struggle, fail, and grow in the process. No matter what your thoughts tell you, what truly matters is not what you have or haven't done so far, but what you choose to do with the rest of your life. Even if you had just one day left to live, you could still choose to think and act in a new way. You could allow yourself to be inspired. You could step beyond the identity or limitations you've placed on yourself. You could choose to live fully, totally committed to what you do and to what truly matters to you. And you could do it as if it were the very thing you are here for. Well done! You've made it to the end of this episode. If you found anything in this episode interesting or helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you clicked the like button and shared a few words about your thoughts on the content of this handbook. Most importantly, it helps others find this as well.